Greetings, B-movie aficionados.
Hello, welcome to Couple of Flicks. I am Tristan.
I am Nick.
And I'm Zach.
And today we are talking about another film on the IMDB Bottom 100. And the film we are talking about this time is titled...
Dance Flick.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so this was made in, I think it was 2009, I want to say.
Yes.
It's another spoof movie, of course, which not just any spoof movies, you know, the bottom 100 spoof movies, so means that they're particularly special, I guess, according to the IMDb world. But anyway, Dance Flick, this is a Wayans comedy, which, you know, to me, it's like anybody that knows the Wayans brand of comedy pretty much knows what they're getting. It's usually pretty shameless and like pretty lowbrow.
Do they only do parody comedies, or do they do any other regular comedies?
I think they do regular.
Like they like to. Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say they did like White Chicks and Little Man. I mean, they could be considered parodies because it's the same type of humor, but
yeah, it's definitely they all have the same humor. I was just wondering.
Yeah. In Living Color, I think was a staple of a lot of people's like childhoods, and we all remember. Like, I mean, I think we're all like pretty familiar with the humor of that show too, because that involved like a lot of members of those circles. So, like, anyway, so it's another one of their spoof movies, and like, I mean, how familiar are you guys with their films?
no, a little bit.
They did this what Scary Movies, right?
Yeah, well, the first two.
The first two. Okay, I mean, I'm fairly familiar. I mean, I know them definitely more culturally from, you know, it's a Wayne's movie, or I know like the Dame. He's the main character of this one, Damon Wayans, right? Damon Wayans Jr.
One of them, yeah. Damien, yeah. And I forget which of them directed it, but I think that's their nephews or somebody, like the you know, like Marlon and all them. I think it's their nephews, so it's
Damon Wayans is?
Damien Wayans is, yeah. Or the director and the couple main actors, right? I don't know. I guess it like doesn't matter.
I don't know how many of them were really in there, because some of them were in like suits and shit, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's more or less the same kind of humor anyway, just more contemporarily. Yeah, and I mean, it's basically just a spoof of like Step Up and Center Stage and like a lot of those dance movies. Like, it especially kind of harps on Save the Last Dance, which, I mean, to me, like, what was weird about this movie was that it was kind of just making fun of movies that were already funny, and like, it was sort of less funny than those movies, which I'm not really used to with spoof movies. Like.
Yeah, and it was like all older stuff too.
Yeah,
like most spoofs are like of the time, the movies that came out the same year or something like that. But
yeah, they even like spoofed Fame. Like, they threw that in there too, which whenever they threw something like that in, it just never really felt like it fit.
There's a black snake. I liked the black snake moan fucking reference.
Yeah, that was funny.
Okay, all right. Yeah. I laughed at that one. Yeah, he also switched just instantly into like a Morgan Freeman outfit from whatever he was wearing regularly, like full on balding wife beater that outfit.
Yeah. I mean, actually, there were a few parts in this movie that I chuckled at. Like, I thought that even though David Alan Grier, like, I mean, I wasn't really crazy about what his material in this film, just because I don't know, those kinds of jokes are so ridiculous to me that it's like kind of seems cheap. But having said that, I actually thought this dance scene was like pretty interesting.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Like I hated it until he said that dance scene. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Then I
Makes
was
it
like,
make
okay,
it.
okay, this is actually kind of interesting. Yeah. Like that's the thing about this movie is that a lot of the humor to me was more interesting than it was funny, you know?
Yeah. And
Like
so just briefly, I was looking at my phone, not to ignore you guys, but I was just checking who the Wayne's ones I was referring to. There is Damien, which was the director.
right.
And the main character is Damon, DAM. I don't know how they're related, but
Okay.
yeah. And I like a lot of, because I do like a lot of Damon Wayans' humor. He's a good stand-up, and he's in New Girl, which I've been doing the binge watch
Yeah.
of. He's like
Excellent.
he was in the first episode, the pilot, and then he did it during a pilot shoot season. So he also was in the show Happy Endings, which I also love. So he took that Happy Endings over New Girl, and they even make a reference in New Girl. They say, why? Because they get another black actor to replace him, just because the pilot was picked up, and one of the main other characters in it was like, well, don't scare Winston away. He's gonna run off to another white family and be with them and happier, which is just a reference to Damon Wayans going with that other show.
Yeah.
But then he comes back as a reoccurring character for like a half a season, and it's like I like his acting style, and it showed a lot in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I know I've seen something that they've done. I lose track of a lot of this stuff, but I mean, I am familiar with the Wayans brand of humor. I mean, I've seen like Don't Be a Menace to South Central and I'm Gonna Get You Sucker and all that stuff, and all of those comedies were pretty dumb, but I still kind of enjoyed them because the jokes were obvious, but in a sort of sarcastic, knowing type of way. And sometimes it feels good to like be watching a comedy where you sort of feel like you're in on the joke. Like, so there were some parts in this movie where like, I mean, a lot of the racial humor, they were kind of laughing at it, but they were also sort of laughing with it as well, and so it felt like there was pretty fair interchange between the characters, which it was interesting to see different characters from different movies interacting. Like I thought that was sort of the same thing that I liked about Not Another Teen Movie, which I'm not saying that was a good movie, but I did like the fact that it showed different characters from different movies interacting and having them like react to each other in a realistic way that they would have reacted had those characters in those specific movies actually met. I mean, I do like when humor, like when there's thought put into it. And so those jokes in this movie I appreciated.
Yeah, there were some like that's what I'm saying. Like again, I'm just going back to the Damon Wayans character. He had some funny little like cliche one-liner bits that were like, oh, this could have been like a little stand-up bit that he was just didn't work on stand-up, but it's a small sentence joke punchline that worked well.
Yeah,
he had a bunch of little funny liners. I thought were like, Damon Wayans.
I mean, they have an amazing sense of timing. That's something that you can always really count on with the Wayans family, like humor, even if the jokes are just totally just like cringeworthy. I mean, there are some jokes in White Chicks that I find funny for like ironic reasons, but then there's other jokes that kind of make me cringe and groan. Like, oh, it's embarrassing that they thought that was like a good joke, but having said that, like their timing is always reliable. And even though sometimes it's predictable, it's still like they do like to kind of have those little gross out jabs here and there. Like the joke in the movie where she's flirting or she's talking about her friend's brother or whatever. And like, she's like, oh, I was going to say, but, and she's like, oh, really? Well, you should see his dick. And then of course there's like some noise that happens that covers it. Like stuff like that is stupid and edgy for the sake of edgy, but at least you expect it, So.
Yeah, and like the very first dance scene was like the first dance movie he did was like he just pissed on a guy.
Yeah. Which they got to the toilet humor in this movie really fast.
Oh yeah,
That
I liked the move of just shoving his own head up his ass. That was
Yeah.
an awesome move.
Yeah, that's another thing this movie did. I think it beat Stan Helsing to the punch, because Stan Helsing, I think that movie, it was about a minute or a minute and 9 seconds or something like that when the first fart joke or toilet joke happened, where the guy goes into the bathroom and there's a cockroach on the toilet with the diarrhea. This movie actually managed to introduce the toilet humor even earlier, with the guy randomly pissing in the middle of the dance floor. It's like there was no
first
reason
30
for
seconds.
yeah.
It's like, okay, this is what we're in for.
Yeah.
Wayne's comedy. Yeah,
So,
I mean,
yeah. Having said that, though, I gotta say, I mean, ultimately, as a spoof movie, this movie was a major missed opportunity. I think that there could have been a lot of humor that should have been elicited from the dancing. I think that the dancing aspect is what they should have aimed for, but instead, this movie wasn't really focused on the dancing. There were some dance scenes, but most of it was just about like this, school setting of this white girl trying to adapt to this mostly black high school, which is the plot of Save the Last Dance, so it's following that formula.
and
But
they
it doesn't
made
really.
I like how they made a joke too that like of course they all look like they're in their like 30s and 40s, and
Right.
it was like I'm 21. Like they all were over, they all actually were over the age, but it's still in high school. So
Yeah. Which that is something they kind of take from a lot of dance movies, is like movies like Grease and a lot of stuff like that, where the people playing high schoolers look way older than even their 20. They look like they're in their 30s, which is one of the reasons why I tend to hate a lot of these movies, a lot of musicals and a lot of dance movies and stuff. Is it's hard to get involved in them, like, because there's nothing believable about the overall sort of construction of and the presentation. It doesn't make sense to cast older looking people as high schoolers. It felt like they're cast more for their dancing abilities than for their acting abilities, and that just doesn't seem right to me.
I mean, I can see why though. If you can't, unless you're doing some switcheroos, it would be real hard to, I don't know, get a lot of good dancing actors. Like,
well, it would be, but I do feel like in that case, they could maybe try to do something a little bit more authentic with it. Like they could actually maybe see how they could, rather than have the actor adapt to the material, have the material adapt to the actor. I mean, we've seen people do that on stage all the time, and they do that in film. I've seen it happen. It just feels like people don't really ever want to take the chance to do that with a movie about young people, which is just,
well, are we talking the parody or the actual like musicals?
Oh, I'm talking about musicals and dance movies in general,
Right, yeah.
And
I can
I'm
see
just
that,
saying,
but I think that it takes a talented actor to be able to do both. So that's all I'm saying is
it does, but that talent, though, it can be harnessed really well. I've seen it happen.
Hugh Jackman, baby.
Yeah, exactly. When that kind of thing happens, it's like a miracle. It's like a work of magic. So
The Prestige.
Oh yes. Anyway, what was I gonna say? So overall, I guess I just felt like the movie was just sort of a missed opportunity. Because instead of actually maybe trying to explore the humor that could be found within these dance sequences or whatever, instead it kind of just ended up just being another lowbrow comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry,
and again,
can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
I can hear you. Yeah, I don't see you though.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
All right, no problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
All is well.
Continue. I'll mute myself for a second.
Okay, cool. So overall, I mean, it is what the Wayans brothers do, or the Wayans siblings slash family do. They do tend to aim for the lowbrow humor.
And they
You
even made
know,
a reference to themselves in this. Did you catch that one?
I did, yeah. Which
They
which
were
was
like,
funny.
they were talking about how not many people make it in America. None of those people that make it in America, they're all mostly white. And then
Yeah,
and then there are rules for the, the black community. And
yeah.
that means and they even just say, yeah, like the Wayne's brothers. They literally call themselves out on it.
Yeah, yeah, no, pretty much, because they basically, like, they attack everybody. They attack themselves and they attack other people. They just, yeah, they're totally shameless. And
Yeah.
some of the humor, some of the shameless humor in this film, I mean, it's to be expected. You have the gym teacher who's like kind of a creepy, aggressive, sort of angry, stereotypical, or not gym teacher, the dance instructor, whoever, the Amy Sedaris character.
Miss Camel Toi.
Yeah. Yeah, which the movie ends with her singing, and you can guess where the singing comes from. Spoiler alert.
Oh yeah.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
I mean, I didn't laugh, but I appreciated the fact that they tried, and they decided to, go the extra mile in humiliating themselves.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to throw as much stick at the wall as you can and hope that it sticks. So
There was blackface in this too.
Oh yeah.
yeah, which I was surprised by, but
Yeah.
luckily they didn't, like, they didn't draw a tremendous amount of attention to it. They just
Mhm.
kind of had it happen, and it happened sort of in the span of a lot of surreal, weird stuff. So, it's, you don't really have time to get offended if you're the type of person who, would be bothered. So
Yep.
anyway,
I
um,
did
yeah,
like there was one funny joke. Like the friend of the main girl character that was teaching her the ways. She had a baby,
yeah.
and her son, the father came in and said, "I'm here to pick up my son." He just walks up to the kid, picks it up, puts it down. I'll be here next week. So
That was funny.
stupid.
Yeah,
That's the things that I'm talking about like the kind of stand-up-y type humor is just little bits like that, which
yeah,
aren't the gross out humor, but like just stupid little dumb
yeah. Like weird
comedy.
punchlines.
Yeah.
I liked Marlon Wayans as the teacher, the film teacher or acting teacher, whatever, whoever he was.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
he was pretty funny. So,
He's the one that made the referential line too, yeah, about
yeah,
themselves.
yeah. But yeah, overall, like, I don't know, it was pretty dumb, but wasn't like the worst spoof movie I've ever seen. Like, I mean, I didn't really I didn't really enjoy it, only because, like, they were kind of making fun of something that was already, like, stupid and hard to take seriously to begin with, and after a while it's like, phew, you're kind of laying it on kind of thick. That's
Yeah.
another reason why I'm not looking forward to Vampires Suck, because that's a spoof of Twilight, and it's like, oh great, here we go. And, I already know what kind of jokes they're going to make with that one before I've even watched the movie. So,
There was a Twilight reference
but
in this too.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
there was. Which it took me a minute to realize that was a Twilight reference. I had to pause it.
I got it
Like, I was
they fucking
yeah,
as soon as they put their glitter on it. I was like,
yeah. Well, like, that's the thing. Like, he was like standing there and he had all this glitter on and he looked pale, and I was like, okay, I know they're trying to make a joke towards something. That's the good thing about this movie, is I could pause it and go take a walk, eat a sandwich, whatever, come back, and it's like, oh, all right, I'm not missing anything. Like, it felt like a TV series almost. Like, it felt structured like one. So
yeah. There was
like
even
sketch comedy. Go on.
there was even a super bad reference. The fake ID was a McLovin ID,
Yeah.
straight up. And I'm
Yeah,
looking at
Hawaii.
it like I have a picture of it here, and then I over in the background I have like a super bad poster as well, like because I just have a super bad poster. And I was like, oh, that's funny. I'll snap that.
Yeah.
Her height was short. Her weight was fat. Her hair was nappy. Lazy eyes and sex too much.
That's funny.
And the name was McLovin.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty dumb, but I laughed a few times. I'll give it a 2.
I gave it a half a star.
That sucked.
Yeah, I hate dance movies and I hate spoofs. Most of them, I should say. So the combination does not work for me.
Yeah, this was like poison.
Yeah, I'd give it. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'd give it like a 2 as well. Probably. I got some genuine laughs or chuckles at least out of it. Some giggles.
Yeah. I mean, make no mistake, it's a terrible spoof movie, but if you know what you're expecting, you'll probably laugh a few times.
Yeah, and there wasn't that much gross humor as I was expecting. It was more just stupid fucking humor.
Yeah, it was
like
just
the heads. Like I laughed at the head slide down the street.
Oh yeah, that.
And he got to a stoplight. He met another dude coming down the street on his head. Hey!
That's where the joke lost me. Like, okay, that's enough.
That's where it won me over.
Yeah, I
thought it was stupid that he went out into the street, and then another guy come on. I'm like, okay, all right.
I mean, every once in a while, like I'll watch like one of their jokes will just go too far out there for me. Like there was a joke in I think it was I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, where this guy puts on these high heel boots that have like goldfish in them and they're like full of water, and he's like walking down the street and like they're glass and he's actually having a hard time walking, and people are, and like I think one of them breaks, and I'm watching it and I'm just like, this is just like messed up. Like this isn't funny. This is just like twisted and weird. Like,
Yeah.
it's just surreal,
Yeah.
But I mean, but it, that's how those kinds of things go, though. I mean, every once in a while. And I mean, there were some moments in this movie that kind of had that kind of quality, like that one part where Chris Elliott is it's like that spoof of David Hasselhoff, like the drunken video or whatever, where he's like on the ground and he's all drunk and he's like barfing and he barfs all over the camera, and it's just like all this ridiculous stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like stuff like that is like, it's just more like twisted and sick than it is funny, you know? But it's like, thanks for trying. Anyway, I don't know. That's about all I have to say about the dance flick. So
it's all about it's about all there is to say.
yeah. I guess the one reason why I wouldn't put it on the bottom 100 is because I think that I don't know. I think that there's worse spoof movies than this. Like for what it is, it's like, it's dumber than hell, but it's like whatever. I guess that's what it is,
Yeah. I mean, I'd have to get further down into the list to really see if it would, but some of the ones before it deserve
oh yeah,
higher. Like this could be maybe 100 if we're starting to cut it, but like
yeah. But oh well, I guess that's just how people were feeling about Dance Flick. So
yep.
at least back in October. So
yeah.
All right. Yeah, so have a good night, everybody. That's about it. Peace.
Yep. Have a good night.
Later.